From lumberjack to skilled craftsman to accomplished performer, Kenny Hill's connection to the guitars he builds and plays grows from the ground up.
When I'm building a guitar, I'm always seeing the guitar, even if I'm just dealing with some little piece laying around. I see the whole guitar in its relation to that piece. When I'm working with a piece of wood, I'm always seeing the whole tree in relation to where that piece of wood came out of the tree. It's like you pick up a piece of wood, however you hold it, you're essentially moving this tree around, you know, is this, that this piece of wood was inside of a tree. And so to understand how the wood is going to work under the tools and how it's going to function structurally and how it's going to vibrate and stuff. I mean, every guitar builder is thinking about this stuff, whether he's thinking it or not. But it's nice because you see the tree projected out of the piece of wood. Milling the wood is an exciting kind of macho operation that makes you feel like you're really getting down to the dirt of the business. And it's hard work, it's heavy work, and you have to do a lot of strategizing. I have a real sense of adventure in finding woods that are local, that are exciting, you know, to see it become excellent instruments, great instruments, and stuff that was cut down, you know, when somebody was cutting the road through or making a little development in SoCal or wherever, you know, that this becomes a log of Monterey cypress. I can render it into viable guitar woods. With the mill, you hear a chainsaw going through it, and with one cypress log, we had to cut some off of this to get it onto the mill with a chainsaw. I was at the other end of the log. I'm hearing the log going, you know, it's really singing, and the chainsaw's going, you know, but the log is singing. And I said, well, that's the first note, you know, okay, now we gotta get the rest of them. And you cut it up and pull, you know, a couple hundred guitars out of this log, maybe. This is beautiful stuff. It's sort of narrow, but it'll make great sides. We've got some boards here. So this stuff was quartered out of a bigger log, and it's just beautiful. It's wide enough, plenty wide for any size guitar that you're going to make. Then you take a strip off of this to make sides. Get 3 lengths of sides out of this, maybe some off of this edge, and then cut them up on a standing bandsaw. But good guitars. It has to dry for probably at least a year before you can even think about using it. See this rustling sound? That's something I listen for. The crisp tap tone. It's just the way it responds. It's not something specific. There's a little echo when you talk to it. This goes for any piece of wood. Even firewood is going to talk to you in some language or another. A piece of wood like this, the characteristics of it are that the grain is relatively close together, that the the grain lines are perpendicular to the surface of what will later be the top of the piece of wood. And the center of they're closer together on this outside edge, which is toward the outside of the tree. This will become the center of the guitar top. The grain is relatively close together. The grain lines are quite vertical in relation to the surface here. It's a radial section that's taken out of a tree that essentially grows out this way, these being the annular rings. A block like this is cut with a bandsaw into slices that come out like this. And these slices, these are 2 adjacent slices from a block like that. They have the same vertical grain characteristics, and you choose the edge that has the closer grain, which is generally toward the outside edge of the tree, and fold it open, and it's called book matching. And these 2 pieces are glued together. They're jointed and glued together to make the top of the guitar. Now, to joint them, you need a sharp plane
There's many ways to do it, but the way I do it is with a sharp plane and what's called a shooting board, which is a simple enough tool. It's just some pieces of wood glued together to make a track for the plane to slide in, so it keeps the same angle in relation to the top, or in relation to the joint that's going in the top. Plane sharpened, hopefully, and carefully you lay it in the track and slide it along and cut nice little curls off of it to make a nice straight joint that then, when it's fit, you hold it up to the light, the window, or to a bright light, and you can't see any light penetrating the joint. When you get to that point, the joint is ready to glue, and that's where it is.
So many of the processes, like the various ways of clamping things that I use, are really with almost like found objects, with sticks that are cut to wedge something, with string that's wrapped around. That kind of thing is, you know, the technology hasn't changed for something like that with the advent of electric tools. I guess that's what we're talking about, or, you know, with the Industrial Revolution. Many of the processes that I'm doing are processes that date back hundreds of years.
This is simple physics, inclined plane. Actually changing the sides of the triangle here too, so it's simple geometry. There. See these wedges tighten up together, they pull on the string, that pulls the two edges together. There's an incredible amount of tension here. It's really a very strong clamping device, but it's gentle too. This is actually one of my favorite processes because it's so primitive, but kind of fascinating. The geometry and the physics that are involved in it. Every step has its own purpose and its own pleasure. I think that bracing the soundboard is probably it's the key moments of setting up, along with thicknessing the soundboard, of setting up the sound, the acoustical response of the instrument. One of the most important points. And another thing is that when you work in a field that has its roots in such old things, there's a certain romanticism in some of the incredibly archaic processes. And this is one of them. To be what's almost like an improvisation of how to clamp a brace. These sticks, they're actually just cut out of the same cypress that I make the sides of the guitar out of. This is called the Go-Bar deck, and this is a very effective way to clamp a little piece of wood without having any clamps. The guitar music is miniature music in general, compared to a piano or something. The guitar itself is a miniature, and all of these little details, each of these braces is a miniature of the guitar in a way. Each of the little pieces that I have to make is another little miniature. It's very portable, it's very personal, and in that way I think that the whole thing relates very well. For me, the crossover between being able to go from the tree that's in the ground to the lumberjack, to the milling process, to the fine carving, to the shaping of things, and finally to the playing of the music and creating music even, it's a sampling of life and thought and spirit on so many different levels. And I think it's great that I've been able to hook all this choo-choo train of media together to make a really kind of comprehensive study in life through art and business. This is the skeleton. These are the bones or the veins in a leaf. These little blocks are glued in. They form the joint between the sides and the top. Holds that together. This block holds the two sides together at the butt end. If I've got a problem that is a nagging problem, I try to find the way to change the process until it's easy and fun. If something is not fun for me to do, then there's something wrong with the way I'm doing it. If it's not easy. See, now this is easy for me. I'll tell you, the funny thing is that people, and especially the really great guys, the real masters, they'll tell you how to do something and they'll tell you why, and you do it and you get completely different results. And they could do it the way I'm doing it and they would get completely different results. Everybody builds his own guitar. You don't have any choice. I couldn't make somebody else's guitar. So that sometimes the advice that I get from what I would consider to be masters is of very little use to me because I apply it and I get different results. I get my results. It may be of use in that it stimulates me to try something that I'd been avoiding or something like that. But I will come up with different results pretty much every time. Yeah, see, I love this stuff. The moves are longer. It's the same thing with music. You know, as you play longer and you get it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of seeing the end result when you're in the first stages of being able to really clearly think long phrases. In music, to me, that's the success of good, beautiful playing, is long phrases, thinking way ahead. And this is too, you know, how's this phrase in relation, how's this act in relation to the rest of the guitar, in relation to the assembly, and carving the neck, or setting up the action. It's how you see the whole thing kind of simultaneously that produces a better product. That's probably the key to it, finally. It's not any one of the elements. It's being able to see the big picture, lots of perspective. Is almost done. This is actually the interface between the player and me. I guess it's the most important interface. It's when this is where you feel the guitar while you're playing it. And one of the tricks that I have, that I'm probably one of the only people that I know, is that I keep playing the guitar and working on it at the same time. I string it up. This is still, I can feel it. It's a little flat back here, and needs to be straightened out. I can feel these things much better with the strings on. I can't really get right down to the last little subtleties until I'm really playing the thing. I can feel where my thumb comes back in the back of the neck. It feels just right. When it's just right, then I can go ahead and smooth it out and lacquer the thing. Actually, I'm going to work on it some more in a different way. It's getting close. I don't know. The curve on it is the way I like the feel of it, and it's just a matter of blending the shape in here into the straight line that goes down to the other end, and then blending this shape on out. It's part of the art of the thing, as far as just the visual art of making it look good, like some nice human body parts. But it's also how it feels, because this is one thing that you're feeling all the time when you're playing the guitar. Actually, this is the point with the sandpaper, especially. Sandpaper is the way that you transfer your own little body shapes to the guitar. So this is where the curves really come in, and I'm actually shaping it like whatever little parts I've got. I think that this is the fact that I work on the neck of the instrument even after I've got the guitar strung up, when I can play it to try it out, I think is one of the big trade secrets, or it's just advantages that I have in the field of guitar building, is that I can keep working on this, and it's just my own method. I can keep working on it until it feels right to me. So, I can't tell if it feels right until I'm playing it. But this is a distinction, I suppose, that I make of my own work, that I don't really know any other builders who do the same thing. Maybe they ought to try it. Maybe they better not. Tell them. But it makes it, what it does is, I see it time after time. Somebody picks up the guitar and it says, this guitar plays really nice. This guitar just about plays by itself. And that's what I try to get the guitar to do. So I'll keep working on it and keep fiddling with it until I get it so it feels like it plays by itself. It's always a matter of removing material. I can feel, there's a little lump in there. Okay, if I can get rid of that little lump, then it'll be perfect. So it's a kind of a sensuous contact with the guitar that I make and transfer it to the player, whoever the player is, for as long as he plays it. Whether he buys it or he just
tries it out in a music store.
Watch the newspapers to find out where you can hear Kenny perform locally. Or, if you're interested in special ordering an instrument, inquire at 336-2436.